if you live in Florida, you might have heard of a town called Goldsboro. But did you know that this is the second all-black community established in Florida, right behind Eatonville? But the person that established it is the brother of the person that established Eatonville. But look, don't worry, I did some digging. Let's get into it. Real quick, before I get too deep into this, I got the inspiration to do this video from another creator. And I also, touched on this subject before, but he said something in this video that made me want to do some more digging. So I dug it. Now, this is Joe and William Clark, two brothers. They own this store out in Eatonville, and we all know that Eatonville was the first black community in Florida and in America. But see, Joe, he the one who did this whole Eatonville thing. But William, this is where Goldsboro come into place. Now, before we go any further, I have to introduce you to the Freedmen's Bureau, all right? This is a U.S. government organization put together to help Americans after the Civil War. Now, this organization, their whole thing was to help, freedmen, enslaved men that were fighting in the war and that are no longer a slave. If they needed help, get going with life, medical, money, housing, and even education, they would provide it for them. But they didn't only just help black people, they also helped white people that were also struggling at this time after the war. But their biggest thing here at the Freedmen's Bureau is they wanted black people to get free education, didn't have to pay for it. They do this, why pay for education when everybody else getting an education? Let them get an education. Matter of fact, this is Otis, all right? Otis Howard, he's the commissioner of the Freedmen's Bureau, and he was real heavy on, former slaves getting education. And they gave bruh a shout out. They named Howard University after this guy. He was a general. Shout out to Howard. Now, around 1870, the Freedmen's Bureau, they start kind of like placing, these former slaves in these black communities throughout the state of Florida and also America. But this is where, my dog William comes into play. So at this time in Sanford, all right, they're building a lot of railroads. The thing is, it's right off the St. John's, all right, Lake Monroe. And a lot of stuff is coming through, a lot of, important things, wood and all kind of products and things like that. And most of the people working the railroads at the time were black people, okay? Former slaves. So what they did is they created a town right next to where they were building these train tracks. Now, remember what I said. William and his brother, they owned the store out in Eatonville, so he got a little bit of money already, all right? But not only was he a store owner, but he also owned a few other things, a little bit of land and a couple other businesses. So this was a perfect spot for him to kind of just like post up and create a nice little town. Now, this community was a small community, just a couple of streets. And as you clearly can see, there's a railroad that runs smack dab down the middle of this town. And I'm just sitting here looking at this. Everybody that live along the corridor of this railroad probably ain't getting no sleep at this time. This late 1800s, it's the only mode of transportation other than a horse is by train. Train coming through all day, all night. They ain't getting no sleep, but the area around Goldsboro is growing, Sanford, Florida. And there's also other communities that are popping up around this community. And it's kind of like overlooking the community because they're almost saying that they don't really need it no more. Let's get rid of it. They literally would have like meetings, like town hall meetings, talking about getting rid of some of the surrounding communities like Goldsboro and also Sanford Heights. And there's a few other ones. They just wanted to just wipe them out. But the thing is that the people inside of those communities, they were fighting. They didn't want to leave. The thing is, this was a thriving community, all right? They had a post office, stores, they had schools, they had all of this right here in the community of Goldsboro. And they wanted to grow. They wanted to be able to expand, but when you don't have any power to do anything, it's not going to go well for you. Now, this is where I got to introduce Forest Lake. And if you're from the Central Florida area, there's a lot of things named after bruh. But doing the research doing this, I don't think I like bruh. I don't think I like him at all. So, Forrest Lake was the mayor of Sanford, Florida for a little bit. And he was the main person that wanted to really get rid of all of these communities. Basically saying, look, we're just a bigger and better town. We're going to take over your land for agriculture, homes, if we want to add some golf courses, I don't know. But they just wanted to take over these smaller communities so they could just grow the city of Sanford. Now, like I said, the residents of these communities, they would fight, all right? They would come down to like city hall meetings and stuff and say what they need to say. And bruh just didn't care. So what he did is he basically just, annexed all of these small communities, just got rid of them, wipe them off the map. They're not there anymore. Y'all can still call yourselves Goldsboro. But what we're going to do is we're not going to recognize y'all at all. Now, that's not it. Okay, it gets even worse, all right? So around 1912, everything that was about Goldsboro, street names, all of that other stuff, they also changed the name so they could just wipe out all the history of that black community. For example, they had streets and stuff named after, some of the people that helped develop stuff in the area. And one of the streets was named after William Clark. But they changed that specific street to Lake Drive, which was named after Forrest Lake. It was basically the person that erased all their history in the first place. Well, he started it. It's nuts. But in 2013, they changed the name of the street back, all right? The city of Sanford did, just so they can, pay a little homage to the actual founder of Goldsboro. Also, if you are in the Sanford area, all right, they have a museum of the Goldsboro community. It's a lot of things. I hear a lot of stories, artifacts, and things like that. And I saw somewhere, and I don't know, so anybody that know anything about this, please put it in the comments, but they're fighting to get a bigger location, bigger and better location. Right now, I think it's in this, trailer. So if you have any information about that, please put it in the comments, and let's see what we can do. See if we can get the word out. Also, the city of Sanford has recognized, the community, basically saying, look, we know y'all was here, okay? And we're going to recognize y'all. And they also recognize William Clark with this plaque. I'm not really sure exactly where this is. All my, Bo-Key people, put it in the comments. Now, look, I don't know what y'all going to do to remember this. Like it, comment, definitely share it. I don't know, but the more you know. Peace.